Good evening. This is the June meeting of the Norwood Parking Authority, regularly scheduled meeting.
It's sharing the screen. Hold on. Sorry about that.
And one of our early agenda items is the community well, let's do roll call first. Sorry.
Chairman Rains,
Here.
Vice Chairman Seebeck,
Present.
Commissioner Ailey. Here. Commissioner Fulham.
Here.
Commissioner Large.
Here.
We are all here, sir. And Xerox.
Thank you, Brian. So if there's any comment, discussion about the previous meeting minutes? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve?
So
Motion
moved.
to. Okay, second.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Matt. The public participation is an opportunity for anyone on the call who would like to discuss.
Just interrupt you. I think we need to call for a vote.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I did, yeah. All in favor of accepting the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. The public participation is a time in the meeting for people, for anybody in the public who wishes to make us aware of some points that they find of interest, and we would just ask that if there is anyone, that you limit your comments to as close to 3 minutes as possible. And also keep in mind that this our role would be in this instance to gather the information and then have a dialogue about it at another time. So if you would just deliver the information, and we'll take it and then have a dialogue and report back as needed. Is there anyone dialing from the public?
There is not.
Okay, great, thank you. So Sirak.
Good evening, everyone. For the month of May, overall, we finished 5.1% over budget, in total revenue, and expenses were 25% less over budget for the month. That is due to the approved accrual from prior month. Year to date, 11 months into the operation, we're over budget and total revenue for the year, and under budget and expenses, leaving us with a $459,000 surplus for the year. Revenue for the month, we finished strong in all buckets of the revenue line items. Meter revenue, monthly revenue on parking violations. That was offset with a loss in transient revenue. And that is mainly coming from Haviland Deck and Webster Lot. Haviland Deck, the evening and weekend activity was down for the month, and that is due to a major restaurant that closed on Washington Street that reduced the evening and weekend revenue. The Bandito restaurant closed on Washington.
Which one?
Bandito.
Oh, Mexican.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
okay.
used to bring a weekend and evening crowd, so that the closure of that restaurant reduced our revenue at Haviland. Webster Lot, the movie theater was underperforming, and we're monitoring that closely. So the transient decline came from those two facilities. All other facilities outperformed, even on street, outperformed for the month. And then expense for the month, as mentioned earlier, is over budget due to the approved accrual for the repair of the overhead gate that we voted on last month. On to the variance report. On the variance report section on meter revenue is way over budget. That is in conjunction with increased meter activity, coupled with the meter back revenue that had been blocked off due to construction in the West Avenue area and then Toronto area. The majority, the highest amount was from Madison Avenue that we contacted the post office about. They were parking their cars on the street. That's coming from meter back onto meter.
The post office was repaving their lot. So they rented out the spaces on Madison.
And the expenses that we talked about, right? And that's the plan, the screen that you were seeing is the full package of the financial statement. That's what it is. And I'll, for the month, on which we will update the 15 minutes fee parking usage. We have 3% increase from the prior month, and the 50 minutes usage. If you look at the data, majority of it is coming from Sono, the Sono area and Wall Street area, streets. West Avenue seeing, a 12%, activity and 15 minutes usage, and that's due to the number of spaces in the West Avenue on the street is not as big as the other areas where Sono and Wall area are located. And the rest of the package is, a backup for all what we sort of discussed, nothing an outlier in this package. The only thing that it's an outlier in here is the park mobile activity. If you go to the last page, park mobile activity is seeing an increased activity. Especially on the Sono area to the left of graph line. The Sono off-street, Sono on-street area is seeing a major park mobile usage increase comparing it from prior year, May 2024. With that, finish the financial reporting and then.
Rock, could you just go over what you just said again? Wasn't quite following you, what you just.
The park mobile
Yes,
activity?
yes.
If you look at the Sono off-street facilities and the Sono on-street facilities, those are the areas where we're seeing an increased park mobile activity.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I'm following you now.
That's
Okay.
a major increase that we're seeing comparing it to prior year. And but that will go to the marketing update. Sarah, if you're on the call, if you can hear me, you can go on
Just before you move on, the permit sales sheet. So fiscal year 2025 is shaping up to about pace the prior 2 years. Are you seeing is there parking space physical usage that's also outpacing? I mean, are the garages full, or are like the Sono garage full, and then?
throughout, yeah, the sort of the garage is seeing an increase in permit activity.
Yeah.
But if you look at the revenue and section, you're seeing a higher revenue.
Mhm.
That's due to YMCA lot not being budgeted for this fiscal year because we didn't know we
Okay.
were gonna get it.
Yeah.
So that is part of the high increase in revenue.
The revenue, okay,
But activity wise, Sono is seeing a major request for permits.
okay.
Sono train station.
So if you take the YMCA lot out, we're at least on pace with 2024.
Correct,
Right.
with the minor increase
Minor.
mainly coming from the train station garage.
Yeah, okay.
If there are no questions, we can go to the marketing plan that we've done. There was a community outreach that we did in the month of May, so Kara can jump in and take the lead on that.
Sure. Hi, good evening, everyone. So this is actually not really our marketing plan. So sorry for the confusion on the cover letter there. This is really just the key forum discussion points that we had from the event that we put on. I think I mentioned it last month. We put a really strong effort into going out to it was over 100 businesses from a one-on-one standpoint, and we were handing out flyers, we were sending out emails, and we unfortunately we were only able to get about 15 people to join the event, but I think it was a really fruitful and engaging discussion in some of the items that we were able or feedback that we were able to get from the businesses in the area, kind of revolve around what we have here on the screen: on street ADA parking. Really, there was a lot of discussion around curbside management and how we can look into utilizing some of the space from drop off pickup zones and or loading zones And then there was some discussion around parking regulations, for the time limit. I know previously we had 3 hour parking and it was brought down to 2 hour parking. So there was some discussion around the opportunity to either increase that because they were feeling that there's an impact to the businesses by having 2 hours versus 3 hours. And then I think one of the biggest takeaways from, at least from my standpoint, was on the communication and wayfinding perspective. If we could just put some signage up, and it doesn't have to be branded signage, but just some basic directional signage of where the parking facilities are. I think that would really go a long way in helping direct people to the off-street parking that we have, especially when our on-street parking ends up being full and people start to circle. So those are some of the major discussion points. I'm happy to answer any questions you have on it, but I'll throw it back to Rocky to go through what the next steps are.
Correct. One comment about the time limit. I think you got a little confused. On the street parking, it's been 3 hours for a year or something like that. And you used to be able to renew that for a second 3 hours. But we did away with that renewal. And one of the restaurant owners was not happy with it. But one of the store owners was happy and wanted us to actually go back to 2 hour parking. So different people have different ideas about how the curb should be managed. So,
Yeah, it was good. It was good feedback from all these restaurants and
Yeah.
businesses. It's like, how do we help manage a pizza delivery business that really thrives on delivery drivers, and where do those delivery drivers go? So all the feedback that we're getting, Kara has taken a really good a lead on this, on how they're going to develop some recommendations on parking programs that they're going to bring forward to us. And then ultimately for you to discuss and vote on if we want to do these outreach programs with these businesses. So we're working with Laz to get those developed so we can bring that and those programs in front of you.
Well, wasn't there a discussion that we had about after like 5 or 6 o'clock that the parking time would increase, to try to accommodate the restaurants?
Like
I thought
like during the day, do 2 hours, and after 5, do like a 3 hour thing.
I thought we talked about that one time, maybe.
You do?
Yeah.
It used to be 2 hours from 9 to 6, and then after 6, it went to 3, but now it's just a straight 3. But again, when you could renew for an additional 3 hours, what I found from talking to wait staff was they were parking on the street, and they were happy to pay the higher cost to be able to park on the street right in front of the restaurant they worked in. So I'm not in favor of that whatsoever.
Right.
So, those people that are working should be parking in the lots, no question about it, in my mind. I would talk to them and say, it's half the cost if you go to the garage.
Yeah.
They didn't care.
They preferred convenience.
I think we're looking out for all the businesses, not just that particular situation. It's for everybody. So that's, anyway.
Yeah, and if it's, which it is true, that turnover is a good thing for all businesses.
Yes.
Then 3 hours is ample time.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
but there's restaurants that limit your time in your seat to 2 hours, so, just for turnover.
Even 2 hours should be,
Right.
I can't remember going to a dinner for more than 2 hours.
Right.
But, maybe they want to drink. So I can see to try to bring it to 2 hours during the day and then maybe 3 hours in the evening. That would be my opinion.
Yeah, I
about
think,
that.
Kara, if you could just make note of all that, and as you guys look at the recommendations that you're gonna make, if you would, just keep those points in your thinking.
Absolutely.
On the signage, you mentioned that some of the feedback was to, strategically place some signage, didn't necessarily have to be branded. Who determines that?
So I am working on an RFP for wayfinding. At the conference last week in Louisville, we really focused on finding a company to help maybe guide or just look at an overall garage setup, and see how we can mimic that on how inside the garage functions, and then how it connects with the overall sign package for the greater Norwalk area. They actually came today, we did a ride, one of the companies, Parking Guidance, came today. They are very similar to how the Sono collection have the cameras, the park assist, how it functions. If you go to the Sono collection, there'll be cameras and lights on that will identify where open and closed spots are, where ADA spaces are, where EV spaces are. And they have signage that goes inside the garage to help people guide inside the garage. So it'll be a great thing to do at the train station on that double helix, because if you go up one and you see that there's an ADA space on there, you can actually see the blue light at the very end. Or you can see if there's 5 spaces open, you can see that there's 5 spaces at the end, not towards the end of the line, so it prevents any type of backup or confusion. But there's also a bigger picture with signage on getting, either digital signage or just regular, just signs on, on the street outside of 95 or wherever throughout the city to tell people where to go. Go to the aquarium's this way, the Sono neighborhood, the Sono restaurant areas over here, Wall Street's this way. Yankee Doodle Garage has 50 spaces available. So it can all communicate to each other, so it'll give people an idea of where to go. So I'm working on getting that out to bid to see, and see what kind of designs we're looking at in cooperation with our branding, along with the city's branding too.
Good.
So this is very interesting. Parking Guidance is a very interesting, an interesting company. They're going to work on a proposal to get this, so we have an idea of what this is gonna cost.
Good. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Kara.
And these are, the next steps that we're gonna take based on that, community meetings. Some of the points that were gathered when Kara's team visited the city was, the signs, the 15 minutes, signs are not, 15 minutes are not well aware, customers coming in. So we're working with the digital solution for that, for the 15 minutes, when we change the scan to pay payment method, that will be when most people start using the 15 minutes, that will be visible for everyone that actually scans the payment method.
So that has to be done from the QR code, you're saying?
Yes, with the signs, you scan the sign, and then that's when it's gonna give you the option for 15 minutes.
Right, so I talked to Brian a little bit about that today, I don't know the right wording to dumb it down, so to speak, because as I said to Brian earlier, I just have people coming all the time that don't know it's free 15 minutes because they're running in and running out. And I've talked to you about this before and so forth. Is they don't know to they're not from Norwalk. They're from, one of the surrounding towns, not from far away, but anyway, it's just a consistent problem. And I talked to Brian about a decal. We talked about it together a month or so ago. I just think we're so close, but it still kind of needs to be addressed. I agree with what was done to take all that kind of confusing signage down. We don't want to look like a tag sale in town, we want to look clean and neat and everything like that and professional. But we still have to give them good information to.
It sounds, so if I'm understanding what you're saying, the normal parking procedure is to scan the QR code and it starts the transaction. So you're saying that when someone scans it, the first thing that'll come up will be free 15 minutes.
Correct.
And if they're interested in it, they can select it.
Correct.
So that might go a long way.
I really don't think so. It's just that someone coming up sees a pay station and it says pay here. They're running in, Eric, for 1 minute, they're picking something up, like a cup, not even faster than a cup of coffee. And, you know, for instance, I was waiting on a person, and this is busy, and I didn't mean to, I'm not on the agenda to harp on this.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting on a customer. I have two people walk in and they're both parking. The meter person was excellent person. And I see the meter person walking by out of the side. So I run out to him, I run to the women and I said, did you guys pay for parking or free 15 minutes? And they go, what are you talking about? You know, they have no idea. So the meter person was so nice to help these two women put their plates in for free 15 minutes and accomplish exactly what we're trying to accomplish, is to give them that free 15 minutes, but they had no idea. So as I've said to Brian, whether it's a decal on the pay station facing the street, not facing the sidewalk, because then they don't get it. It's got to face one side, the other side, and the street, so they can see free 15-minute, enter plate here. Because they're from out of town and they're just not seeing these other things. I've said the same thing many times, but I can't see one of these people, some of them are younger, some of them are older, coming up and scanning a QR code. If they're gonna stay there, they say we're gonna be here for a half an hour or 20 minutes. I can see them doing all of those things. But I'm talking about the quick turnover type of thing. So anyway,
Peter, you're saying in the case of these two women, they didn't even go to the pay station. They parked and came,
parked in front of the pay station to pick something up.
and then, but didn't enter their plate or anything, just
They didn't.
came right into your shop.
I said, they came right into the shop, they were picking up some samples, and they said, and I said, did you enter your plate for free 15 minutes? She goes, how would I know how to do that? It says pay here. But then the meter person helped them.
Right.
Help them do that.
But they didn't even try and pay initially, is what I'm saying.
If they walked up to that pay station, they would have rightfully assumed that they have to pay. I mean,
Right.
it says pay here.
And
Right.
the signs are very, just to be clear, the signs are metered parking timeframe. That was the goal of decluttering, to let people know that these spaces are metered. You have to pay for them.
Yeah,
Just the option of giving the 15-minute free option was just an add-on to prevent them from getting free 15 minutes during that first sessions. And with the inclusion of an online app, it's just gonna make it, I think we'll see more users using it because it's a little bit easier, just like we see the Park Mobile transactions increasing. We're gonna see, when we get the new signs installed, we'll see that 15 minutes, we'll see the data for
yeah,
it,
because
which will help.
our first message to everyone is that we have managed parking.
Right, and that was
If
one of
you're
the
gonna-
main reasons we wanted to do to manage the curb better, to have people go to the pay station. They want free 15 minutes, they do this to prevent any type of issue with running in, instead of having to go to a 15-minute spot that wasn't used all the time.
Right,
So it allows people to go to Cafe Aroma right in front, use that 15 minutes. If there's no spots there, they can just go right down to the next one.
right.
Use the same
one.
thing. It's just.
When
we have
will
other
the,
options for it.
when will this be on the app?
The signs have been, tested, they're working, so they're in production now, we're producing the signs. But, back to your point, even entertaining your idea of, decals. I mean, part of this 15 minutes free scan is also gonna be putting this scanner in your store, so people coming in, they forgot it, so they scan it from your store and can do it, so
That-
any business that participates.
Cause I'll tell them, and we'll all
will
tell
pop
them.
out.
We'll all
It
tell them.
makes it easier instead of having to go right back out to the street.
But
So,
to just interject, so someone like Cafe Aroma, because I said this to someone, best coffee, gotta go there. They don't know that, but the person that goes there consistently knows all about free 15 minutes. It's just like anything. They just,
my concern is that our first message needs to be that we have managed parking. There should be no question, just like in any other urban, not any other, but many other urban, not even urban, but municipalities, you park in a public space, there's a fee. I like the idea of having the fact that we offer 15 minutes free to be the second thing that they learn. by scanning the QR code or scanning the code in
I
the
think it's
store.
excellent that we're getting more
Yeah,
turnover
yeah,
of the spaces.
Yeah.
Because that's what the spaces are for, or for the customers. That's what we're kind of talking about here. So the customer comes down from wherever. Can they do business? Can they buy whatever? Because there's an open space, and the open space is a reality because they're managing the parking there. And it's freeing up, so someone's not sitting there all day and doing 3 hours and then renewing it for another
Right.
3 hours, which is ridiculous.
Right.
They're turning over the spaces.
right.
Which is a
So when-
win-win for everybody.
Again, when will the app, if somebody scans a QR code, you said that the 15-minute thing is gonna come up. When is it doing that now, or it will be doing that?
We need to get the signs installed. Once the signs get here, they've been testing.
And
how it
signs,
functions.
because the signs have the QR code on?
Correct.
Okay,
It's gonna replace the Park Mobile sign with a Park Norwalk branded sign.
so why don't we, what do you guys think about, let's get through that hurdle. See what the numbers say.
Yeah.
And then if it reinforces, cause I just don't, I don't want our first message to be free parking. Because then I'm afraid somebody's gonna say, well, Newark has 15 minutes free, and they're not gonna do anything. They're gonna get out of their car thinking they have 15 minutes free and go do.
Well, no, that's why I
Doing.
talked to Brian. It has to say enter plate here.
Yeah, yeah,
And I thought it was great, but I guess it's gonna be Laz app. That's gonna have enter for the free 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, it's gonna come up, just like Park Mobile does.
yeah,
It's gonna come up, your time is about to expire.
Yeah.
Do you wanna pony up for an hour?
Right.
Or whatever it
Right.
happens to be.
Right.
And then they hit it. And I think that's the windfall kind of thing.
Yeah.
You get someone there. And then they wanna stay there, and then they say, well, I'd rather pay $1.35 or whatever it is for the fee and not get a ticket. So that's where I think it's gonna be a snowball effect.
Vice Chair Seebeck raised his hand.
Oh, Matt, sorry, I didn't see it. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. Guys, I feel like we're never gonna solve for people who in a managed parking environment who only wanna park for 1 minute. I just don't think it's a realistic thing for us to try and solve for. Just because those people are gonna move at risk regardless. I think it's better for us to manage towards the people who are, going to patronize the businesses in the area, and we should just move on as a matter of course with the plan that's already been put out there. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I see it too. I think if we get through this next step. And then let's see what the numbers are saying. And then, if it deserves further scrutiny, we'll do it.
What I will say, just hearing from other municipalities at this conference last week, we are doing something no other city is even thinking about doing. This is a very customer friendly, visitor friendly initiative that you have put in place in Norwalk, which is great. It's great. I know, when we were there, we were just like, wow, like people just aren't even thinking about that.
Yeah.
So it's a good initiative.
Okay, so if everybody's okay, let's get through this step.
Yeah.
And then see what results it has.
Just one question. When did the new signs go up?
They haven't.
No, they have.
Oh, no, I mean,
Oh,
the 3 ways to pay came down. When did that start?
I think it's
Last summer?
March.
Last summer up here in Wall Street,
Correct.
and then in February of this year in citywide.
Yep.
Okay. Is that it?
Right, then,
Or sorry, Rafi.
and then another point that we were gathering from business owners was, the majority of business owners within Toronto and Wall Street, employees are Spanish, Hispanic speaking, and that is something that Brian and I are working with the vendor where we could have 2 language on the equipment, so that's also in the progress way in the work, and validation was also discussed, and that's also in the work, creating the different validation forms. Tim, Kara and her team are working on that as well. And wayfinding signs, Brian has touched on it already.
Great. Awesome, thank you. Thank you, Kara. The reports, so the financial we did, so we're
The new business, sorry.
Oh, new business, yes. So we contribute, Jessica, not contribute, we provide $100,000 a year. We have provided it for a marketing effort that the economic development people in the city use. It's the Visit Norwalk Instagram and social media postings. So we've done that for a few years. The economic development folks are gonna go a different direction. With the company, they're actually on the phase out plan with that company. And the discussions that have been had is that they would take the money that we provide. And for this year, they've hired a consultant who used to be the events coordinator for the Downtown Special Services District in Stamford, to put together for the fall, late summer or fall, put together a citywide restaurant week. That the funds that we give to economic development would use to pay this consultant, put the effort together. And basically we are the hosts of it for this year. And then depending on how that goes, if everybody feels that it has an economic benefit to the city and brings people to our parking assets, and the whole circle is complete, then we can figure out what to do moving forward. But right now, Jay is our new economic development person, and they haven't decided, I don't think, Brian, if it's going to be late summer or later. I think they're hearing from the restaurants that they're talking to that
Right.
later is better, because it tends to be a little slower of the season for them.
Yeah, the consultant, Lynn, she's working with the ECD department in the city and just getting all the restaurants, trying to get feedback, trying to plan it properly. That's gonna be beneficial to them, but also organize it so it's impactful for customers to actually come and visit during whichever season it's gonna be. The plan was to hit fall, which hopefully we still do, but we also want to benefit this is supposed to benefit the businesses, so see maybe when they slow down to do it, so they're still talking and organizing it, but it's going really well, and the sponsorship that the NPA is doing for this it's a good look for the authority, and try to get a very positive vibe from this instead of like the negative stuff that we sometimes hear.
And Jessica, just for your reference too, we did something similar for the holiday events at Sono and here in Wall Street. And then, which now the city's doing, so we sort of got it going with Laz. And then now the city's taking that on and they're doing it, both for Halloween and for the Christmas holidays.
How do you advertise those events?
They go, we're working with Snyder Group now, largely, it is a marketing company.
Okay.
And so they will be doing more social media posts for us.
And the firm that was working with the Economic Community Development Department for the marketing, the funds that the authority gave for this, they did the marketing too. DKA.
Out of Hartford.
It's awesome. But they're being phased out, a new firm starting in July. I think there's gonna be a little transition for the month. Then they'll have a different firm doing those things.
I would suggest some signage at the parks, just because not everybody looks at the Norwalk social media.
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived in Norwalk forever, I don't.
You mean the social media sites of the city of Norwalk or the parking authority or something like,
I mean,
you're not looking at it every
correct,
day?
yes.
And you'll see some signs for the events down there. I know for they have the, God forgive me, I don't know the name of it, but the street fair that's happening in Sono on Saturday, you'll see little signs everywhere.
Yeah, those are super helpful, the lawn signs are super helpful, just all around the city,
Yeah.
but just at the parks, cause at the beach, at the parks, just they're the stands, you can post signs on, like, whatever they're called, but I would just, something. a
Oh,
little
the
more
key,
old
like a
school.
kiosk billboard?
Yeah, there's one at Cranberry Park, I mean, at the beach, there's lots of places you can put them, but But then you'll be targeting not just Norwalk residents, but,
Yeah.
um,
We can start putting them in the train station, even in Maritime Garage here. It's good.
Good.
Yeah, that's good. It's helpful.
Okay, awesome.
And even like with the wayfinding, how I envision the wayfinding signs looking, if it's a digital solution to look at, we could put whatever branding, any type of event on those signs as they change, to get people where they need to go for those.
Yeah. Okay. Then is any old business?
Oh, I forgot to delete it. Apologies.
Yeah, that's okay. So if there's no old business, then we are, but can adjourn.
Motion for adjournment. Yeah.
Motion for adjournment.
36 minutes.
That's
The record.
That's quick. I'll second.
Was that you? All right, first and
No.
second.
Oh, you make a motion.
Oh, motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Peter.
I'll
Yes.
second.
There you go. All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. Thanks, Matt. Safe travels.
Have a good
Thank you.
night.
Appreciate it.
You bet.